We're gonna stop that till your
Yeah.
meeting.
There I am. Okay. Okay. Did all of you receive the minutes of the last meeting
Yes.
I did not.
that I sent out to you?
I did not, Bob Groves.
Oh, I sent it to you. I
Well,
sent it.
what
That was yesterday, I believe, or Monday, I don't remember which, or Tuesday. Okay, well, let's start. We're going to start with David anyway, and we're going to do the minutes and all at the end. So, David, let's start with you and your grader and the tractor. Where are we at on it, please?
Did everybody get the email link for that? The letter that I wrote? All the information was on that.
Okay. That was the one where the Milton was 426, 475?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
yep.
then it also had the lease program on there as
Yeah,
well.
I saw it.
And
Did everyone see that?
I don't know that I did.
When, Dave, may I make a suggestion? When you send us anything, date it.
The email was 3/12.
Yeah. Well, mine came through not as an email. Well, an email, but it's a letter, so it doesn't have a date on it.
I got an email at
Oh,
3,
data?
March 12th.
Yeah, see, I don't have that. I have the same thing you have. Maybe you gave it to me here in the office.
Okay. So
Thank you.
anyways, the cat grader was
Yeah.
a little bit more, and then the John Deere came in very similar, only a little less.
Mhm.
Their lease programs are a little different.
Yeah.
The cat, I believe, was a monthly, and the John Deere was a yearly program. And I talked to Chris from the District 2
Mhm.
DOT, and he said we can use capital plan, Chapter 90 money to pay for the lease. That's if we choose to.
Yeah, but then you don't have it for something else you need it for.
Right, the roads and
Yeah.
maybe some other projects that we might
Yeah.
have. Yep. I
So-
haven't done anything with pre-approval for roads yet because I was waiting to see how this would turn out.
Mhm. Okay.
I've also found Tim's, I think I sent that to you. Found Tim's proposal or
Mhm.
bid for the tractor that we have that we want to fix up or fix. And he came up with around $7,000 to fix that.
Yeah, I think it's, yeah.
that
I've
was-
got it here. 7,500.
Yep. And he said the tractor was only worth 45, but doesn't mean we still can't fix it. I did get a bid on a Kubota from Brookside over in Phillipson that was $33,000 for that tractor.
Wow.
Came with 2 other attachments that we don't have, but that tractor would support all the attachments that we have in the yard.
Okay, so
That
now
was information that I collected together.
we appreciate it very much. You did a lot of work on this. So that one would be in addition, or whatever we're going to do would be in addition to the new 0-turn mower.
Yeah, the 0-turn mowers is definitely something that we need. That other tractor we fixed up just before we stored it.
Mhm.
It cost us quite a bit of money before we stored it.
Okay, may I ask what a 0-turn mower is? I mean, I know what mentally I'm picturing it, but what it would do by the name, but is that what it would do?
Bob, you have an answer for that?
Yeah, well, we know it's a 0-turn motor is a mower you sit on. You can go right up to a tree or hopefully without hitting it. Then you can turn around 180 degrees or whatever number of degrees you want to turn because of the way it's organized in its transmission. So it's a very efficient, quick way to mow. They're pretty much all the commercial guys use them now. And, if the other one's worn out and Dave says, we need a new one because we probably have to mow the grass over at the library now too. I guess that's something I think that I would personally support. I have some questions about some of the other items, but that kind of money I think I could support as a part of our capital outlay this year. My questions, if I may continue, about the grader we had the grader on the schedule for, I think, 27, 28. And I talked to Tim about the grader, and I talked to the guys down at Amherst Welding, where Dave, you got a bid from them, from Darren down there, right?
To do what, Dave, please?
That was just to fix the hydraulic leaks, all the, the pistons that are leaking. And there's some welding that needs to be done on the moldboard. And they just said that there was some repairs that can be done to it. It's not a new moldboard. It's the moldboard is bent out on both ends
Mm,
from years of grading. So we have to put washers in there to straighten out so that the blade won't break when we go to use it. So the blades don't sit flat on the moldboard anymore on either end.
ooh,
So they said they would try to straighten that out so that the blades would sit flat, but it's not a new moldboard.
Anyway, so after talking to Tim and talking to Darren down at Valley Welding, Amherst Welding, that, as Dave knows, those moldboards always get bent because you hit a piece of ledge, and that because of the way the thing is built, it bends it, and so you got to straighten it or replace it with a used one. But
careful.
excuse me, I'd like to see I'd like to see our present grader being used for another year or two, and then maybe look into used like we did in the past, because that money it's a very significant amount of money we're talking, Dave, and for the amount of grader we use. I know we need more of a grader, more grader than say Pelham, because we have more dirt roads than Pelham. I don't know how we compare to Leverett, but I would like to see more time. I'd like to see that our grader, our present grader, just fixed up for the kind of money we're talking, and sort of limp through another year or two, and then find and study this issue deeper before we put a brand new grader. I don't like the idea of you dipping into your state money for the grader either, because hey, you need that for the roads, and then
Yeah, but you don't have to do that.
if you pull the money out, we're going to put more money in somewhere else. So I think the way you're using the money now has been workable for the town. So again, I think the leasing idea, unless the state is willing to give us some additional support, I don't think it's a great one, considering the numbers that you've got out here on your document. As far as the tractor goes, I really support fixing the old tractor. And I know you've had a hard time finding somebody that would do the work for us, but that Kubota sounds, on the surface, it sounds like a pretty decent deal, but depends on how hard the damn thing's been beat. I don't know if you went down there to look at it, but that's a pretty small tractor. Depending on who owned it, they might have really beat on it. But it does sound like a reasonable. I don't know how many hours are on it. Do you know off the top of your head?
No, I asked them how much it was. So I did go down there and look at it. It's a very clean tractor.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, and
Yeah. What has it got for implements besides the bucket? Or
it's got a front bucket, and it has a snowblower attachment for the back, and it also has another attachment. I believe I don't know if it's a broom or what kind of attachment that was.
and you got a broom on the loader now, right? Is that how it works?
No, we have one for the backhoe
Yeah.
that we use.
Yeah, so that's my take on this, Dave. Is I'd like to make sure you're well equipped down there, but I think I'd like to hold off and table the grader for this year.
Bob, as you remember, these are guesstimates as to when the things have to be bought. It's not set in stone.
I understand that. I do understand that, but
Just for the people who are new on the committee. It was a big spreadsheet. We can't manage to find a copy of it, and it had every year and a guesstimate as to what we would be replacing.
yeah, this is the first we've heard of this particular issue, since we bought the last one used. So that I did take the time to talk to Tim and to talk to, of course, meet with Dave, and that's my take. Okay.
Okay, Bob. George has his hand up.
Before I start with my question, that whole schedule, I hope that after we've made our decisions about the request for this year and we've wrapped it up, that we can have more meetings to kind of work on that, because I looked at it and our numbers are wildly off, and the years are going to be a little off, but the numbers are definitely,
Oh, yeah.
they need to be.
Everything's gone. Yeah, everything's gone up so high.
Yeah, we had the grader for at $90,000, and so we weren't even close. So I want to talk about the grader. I mean, my first reaction to the tractor is sounds like you put some work into it. Maybe we put a little more work into it and make that last if we can. That's my first thought, but we can talk more about that. I'm definitely in support of the zero turn mower. Um, I'm in support of the grader, but how we're going to, it is a very expensive item. And what's intriguing to me here is we have an opportunity, a different way to finance it than we have for any other items that we purchase in this town, and that is the Chapter 90. Now, I know how essential Chapter 90 is to our town, and I know that it's increased in recent years, if I'm not mistaken, Dave, and you can correct me on that. To what extent of the Chapter 90 you get can you live without it? So, for instance, I'm throwing out numbers. If Chapter 90 is $100,000 and you tell us I can get by with 70, the lease will be 40 or 50 annually. Can we make up the difference in your operating budget for the years during the lease? So let me try and rephrase that. So if it's 100,000 and you say you can live without, you could make it work with 70, but the lease payment is going to be 40 a year, then really you're short $10,000. And so we could make that up in your operating budget during the years of the lease. And that would take, and we can use cash to cover that because that would be a small amount. Even if it was 20 or 30 a year, we could use cash for those years. It would be temporary use of cash. We could keep it out of the operating budget. And the question is, to what extent can you live without Chapter 90 money? And just to frame all this, we are experiencing, and I'm sure you're all aware, a very difficult year in balancing the budget on the finance committee. We have a $360,000 deficit right now, and still numbers are coming in, and none of them, of course, don't help us. And so we're trying to manage that as well.
Right. To answer your question, Chapter 90 money can be used for a portion of it. Like you mentioned, it could be used for 1 year and then figure out how we can make the payments for the next 4 years. If we decide we can't afford the grader, with this lease program, you can give the grader right back
Mhm.
and you don't owe any money on it. So there is a way out if you have problems, if we have definite, some situations with that. So this lease program is designed for that out if you need it. After the 5 years, you pay $1 and you own it. So you only pay 5 years on it. The first payment on the cat grader is the trade, the $12,000 for the old grader.
We don't have this year.
Yeah, and John Deere is giving us $20,000 for a grader that's not even worth 12,000. On this particular grader that we're hoping to get.
They're the 385, right?
Yes. Yep. And that's the total cost of what we pay. They've the cat grader, or I thought it was the cat. I think it was a John Deere grader on the original. It was $700,000 for that machine.
Mhm.
They took off 200 and something thousand. They wanted to try to be competitive with cat, and they beat them. This grader that we've had since 1998. So it was a used grader in 1998. And it's 40 years old. So it's on borrowed time. If we decide to wait now, say another year, we don't know how high the cost of these graders are going to go. You don't know if that grader is going to make it. And I don't know if any of you have looked at the numbers on what it costs to rent a grader or to have somebody grade the roads for us.
You gave it to us in your letter.
I did, and it's
Yeah,
super
you did.
expensive. $19,000 one bid to grade the roads once
Yeah,
in a year.
oh, I suppose here somewhere. There it
Yeah.
is.
There's another one that's $12,000, but they don't include the roller. The roller is $7,000 on top of that. That's to have someone else grade the roads for you. The lease is $12,000.
Mhm. Yeah,
I mean, not lease, but rent a grader for $12,000. And
A
that,
month.
the amount of time that it would take to grade all of the roads is more than a month. You know, you're looking at, I can't tell you how, we graded the roads probably 2.5 times last year with that grader. And I'm gingerly using that grader right now because our roads are down, we're down to the ledge. Because the roads have not, they've been neglected for years. And, you know, you guys were so generous in giving us extra money to help build up the roads that we've been using hopefully the right material this time. And we have been building them up, but we still have some places where the grader, it stops the grader dead when you hit the ledge. And with that moldboard and with how old the gearing is on that machine, if it does go down and we don't have a backup, we're going to be renting a grader or we're going to be hiring someone to take care of those roads. So that's just so what happens if and I understand Bob's thinking because you know it is an expensive machine. I can't imagine it going down in 1 or 2 years from now, that cost of that machine going down. And the difference between the machine that we have and the machines that I'm looking at is the machines I'm looking at they have safety features on the moldboard. So if you were to hit a piece of ledge with the moldboard, it automatically releases the blade. So that there's no reaction time in between and it won't bust up the machine. It won't hurt the machine. But that grader that we have now, everything's manual on it. So it requires a quick reaction on the driver's part to make sure that the machine doesn't get damaged. I can't train the new guys that I have on that grader because I don't feel it's safe enough for them. And like I said, I think the grader's on borrowed time. I do understand Bob's thinking, and I totally understand the reservation, especially when you have a deficit of $300,000, which I didn't know about till today. The green tractor, I'm willing to try to see if I can get that fixed. But we are without a tractor right now. We don't have any way of blowing our roads down with the blower that we have because we don't have a machine to use it. We have to borrow a tractor from another town to hook up our blower so we blow the leaves off the roads. Right now we're limping by on our dirt roads. So I'm not trying to persuade you either way. I'm just trying to give you the information you need to make the right decision. However, you guys decide that's fine. We'll work with whatever we have. But I will say that our maintenance budget this year, I mean, you guys had to give us extra money because of an older pickup truck that we have. The 1 ton, we had some work done to that. That still needs more work. We didn't completely fix the pickup truck. Now we got to come up with money to fix that tractor. The 0 turn, if we can get that'd be a big help. And I also appreciate your concern about that too. We can use the other 0 turn until we can use it to like make up for mowing on the sides of the roads in areas where it's really rough. We could use it like a flail mower type thing on the edges so that we don't beat up our diamond mower. We've had issues with that. We've put thousands of dollars into that because the computer didn't last. So, I mean, I'm just saying, when I started this position, I wasn't starting in a good position. Most towns have 2 tractors, 2 mowers. Most towns, I know we're a backwoods town, but Leverett has 4 tractors. And they've lent 2 of them to us so that we can at least get our leaves blown off the dirt road. So when we go to grade, we're not trying to grind the leaves into the road. And so anyways, that's where we're at as far as our equipment. I hate to keep repairing this grader and putting more money into this grader because it's 40 years old, but that's up to you guys. I mean, like I said,
David, all we do is make a recommendation to the FinCom. It's up to the FinCom to figure out how to finance it. And George, you have your hand up again, I believe, or did it never come down?
Yeah, no, I put it back up. Well, So I guess I was confused about the tractor because I thought that you might be able to get it fixed and get it operational again. And it was more a question of, do we want to spend that money or get a new one? And I'm just hoping that, I'm wondering if we could repair it soon and get it back into operation. If you're telling me that it can't be, and you're gonna have to wait months before you can use it, that changes my equation.
Yeah, that tractor, I don't know how long it would take to fix it. All the pumps need to be replaced on it. The tractor needs to be split in half. And the pumps need to be replaced on it. Tim took it out and he had some work done to it. It cost over $4,000 and it came back and it wasn't working. It wouldn't go forward, wouldn't go in reverse. It wouldn't do anything. And he said the tractor was only worth $4,500, which I'm not sure if I agree with that. I think those old tractors are super tractors. But I don't know. I haven't quite got to the point where I've talked about fixing that tractor yet because I wasn't sure where our budget would be at the end of the year. The beginning of the year, yep, I can get it right in there, July, get right in there, but we need it now.
Well, you can come to the finance committee, and talk to, and, another FinCom transfer, if that's what it takes.
Okay.
If you think
I'll work on getting some estimates for that tractor.
yeah, and contact AJ, you have AJ's email, or Bob.
Yeah, I got Bob's, yeah.
Yeah, and Bob's, and yeah, let's talk about that.
Sure.
I certainly don't want to leave you without a tractor. So one of the questions I had earlier, is that reasonable to think that you could live without some of your Chapter 90 money and we could finance the lease through the Chapter 90? And then the finance committee to some extent can make up for that in your operating budgets. That would, I think, be financially one of the better ways if we were going to approve the grader. I think it's one of the better ways to finance it for the
That'll
tax.
be up to you and the finance committee, not us.
No, that's true. That's true. But I can tell you this, if I know that, this alternative exists, it would be helpful for me to make a decision.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
I'm thinking about the finance side, and there's no question in my mind that we need a new grader. And these graders take a serious beating, and I know the new technology in the equipment is so much better and safer and less prone to more breakdowns, because that's what's going to happen if we keep the grader that we have now.
You're just taking a chance that the grader can go down during the middle of the grading season. And then you don't have the option. All you have the option to do is either rent a grader, which is going to cost you $12,000, which is ridiculous, I think. And that's not counting the delivery and the pickup of the grader.
Yeah.
That's just the rental of the grader. I know it's 2 hours away to get a grader down here.
Yeah, it's gonna, impede in the flexibility of your time, especially if you have an urgent need for it.
Yeah. There is a possibility that if something did happen, we could borrow a grader, but then we're fighting with the schedule of whatever town we borrow it from. And then if something happens to it, do we feel obligated to fix it because it broke while we were using it?
Could we rent it to other towns?
I don't know.
If we get a new one, we might as well make some money with it.
Yeah, I like your thinking. Leverett has a grader that's a lot newer than ours, and New Salem has a grader that's a lot newer than ours. So there is a possibility. I mean, I have a good relationship with Matt, and I have a good relationship with Aaron. There is a possibility that we could borrow the grader for a day or two here and there, to somehow get it in between their schedule of their grading. Matt just pulled his grader out today. I was going to pull mine out on Monday and take a look at it, get it all greased up, take another look at it, and and then see what we can do. I can get by with the leaky pistons. It's the moldboard that I'm worried about. The big pipe that actually supports the moldboard is busted off on one end.
Mm.
It's actually a good 2.5 inches round. So it's a big bar that holds that moldboard together, and it's broken on the ditch side. So that's why I'm concerned about that. But I could probably conceivably get Amherst Welding to weld that. I don't know if they would, because there are certain things that they won't work on because they can't guarantee their work.
Mm.
But the writing's on the wall. It's this year, next
It
year, the
is.
year after.
I can tell you, you talked about the chapter 90 money. We have $344,000 of chapter 90 right now available to us. And I just found out we have a 230 something thousand coming to us this year.
Oh,
That's
And you
because-
don't have to use the chapter 90 money for every year. You can get pre-approved for the first year, and then you can try to get pre-approved for the second year if you feel you still need to use the chapter 90 money at that point. So that there's flexibility there.
so then it sounds like you might be able to manage the paving of the roads and the maintenance of the roads while also dedicating some of that 90 money, chapter 90 money to the lease.
Yeah. Excuse me, can I speak up here a little bit? To all due respect to Dave and to George, I did look into this. I did talk to Amherst Welding. I did talk to Tim. I didn't talk to Steve because he's not available for me to talk to, but I know that he didn't bring this forward to our committee last year. And never mentioned it to me when I was liaison person to him. So, again, I just want to repeat briefly that I think we could fix this. It's a reasonable amount of money, 16.8, I think was the estimate. And it's a very simple machine. They don't, according to Tim, according to Stoney, according to Rick over in Pelham, there's not a lot of technology in these older machines, which is one of the benefits of the machines, frankly. The newer machinery with lots of sophisticated digital technology is much more difficult and expensive to repair. I know that Dave wants to upgrade his grader. I just think we should wait and have a very modest investment, and we'll still have a used grader that we could sell. And if there's an emergency and our grader is broke, there's ways of dealing with it. And I fully support the highway department, and I want the tractor to be repaired, the green tractor, if it's possible. I know Dave does too. I also would support the mower, but I think we should table this particular item and do some more research. And one of the things we haven't really investigated is, and it takes time to do, is used. What's the market? What's the cost? How's that option play out for the town? And that could save us a couple $100,000, which is not insignificant. So I would like to suggest that's what we do here.
Yeah, that's will come when we discuss this probably next week, Bob. Right now, we're just trying to gather the information. Does anyone else have any questions? Okay. Very good. Okay, David, thank you very much.
You're welcome. And if anybody needs that letter that I wrote, if they haven't received it, just let me know.
Yeah, please, if you could send out all that documentation one more time, it would be
Sure.
helpful.
Okay.
All the current stuff. Don't send the one you sent initially that,
Yeah,
then.
I found the initial one with the estimates for the.
I actually
Yeah,
deleted the
I've
first
got it
one.
right here.
I deleted the first one,
You
yeah.
deleted the first one. That's a good
Yeah.
idea.
We got it.
I just wanted to mention too that the new grader comes with a plow to help in the wintertime and a wing plow to push snow bankings back. This year I had to drive the front end loader on the snow bankings to push the snow bankings back.
I saw you doing that
Yeah,
on
so did
corner
I.
of Baker Road.
You have to do that very carefully because those tires on the grader are worth a lot of money. And if I was to blow one of those tires trying to push the snow banking back, it would have cost the town, and then we would have been out of the loader to load the trucks and to use to plow with. So I just wanted to mention that because the loader isn't new. And just so you know, some of the tires that are on the loader have slashes on the outside of the tires. So I had to do that very gingerly. I wouldn't let the other guys do it. I just did it myself because I knew we needed to push the snow bankings back because they weren't able to get the snow over the bankings. So anyways, there's an advantage to that new grader. And there's one more thing that's an advantage to it is the one thing that people are concerned about is crowning on the road. The FERCog has been talking about it. There's a lot of conversation about crowning on the roads and stuff. The old grader is done by eye. There's no way of knowing what you have for a percentage of a crown on the road. the new graders have the technology to make sure that the crowns are crowned properly. And if they are crowned properly, you lose less material on the roads. I hate to lose any of the material that you guys spent the money on. And I'm working on getting the roads sprayed. And I talked to Matt over in Leverett, and him and I are just putting our heads together to figure out how we can get a roller so we can roll the roads. If you roll the roads, you won't lose the material and they'll stay longer and you won't have to grade them as much. So that's just, I just want to throw that out there. Thank you very much for considering.
Okay. I do notice also, Dave, that you're talking about the need for new tires on the grader.
The tires on the grader cannot be fixed anymore. So I have
That's what you said.
one spare that cannot be fixed either, but they will put that tire on one of the rims. So we have one spare. If we lose more than one tire, bald, then we're gonna have to buy all new tires for that grader. And feel free to find out how much those grader tires cost. You're looking in the thousands. I'm talking tens of thousands to buy 6 new tires for the grader.
Wow.
So that's just a thought. Thanks for asking that question, by the way.
Okay, thank you, David.
You're
Nate,
welcome.
are you due to leave now?
Yeah, I told them that I was running a little late, but that's fine.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
because I'm watching my watch thinking I
appreciate
gotta
that.
get you out if you need to be out.
Thank you. I just wanted to let you guys know that, Bob and I met with the principal and the superintendent. I thought it was a great meeting. And it seems like this is going to be a process that we're going to have to go, like, this might be a couple of years. I've reached out to Dennis Clark. Seems like the next step is to try to get a consultant in to kind of figure out how to make this driveway most efficient. I reached out to the building committee. I reached out to Ann Cook and Stephen Dalamus just to see if they have any leads. I haven't heard back from anybody. I haven't heard back from Dennis Clark. Yeah, I thought it was great, super productive. I did meet with Ann on I met with Bob on Wednesday, I met with Ann and Matt Foster on Friday, and we just kind of walked around the building a bit. Matt did point out a couple windows in the library that need some attention. There's some rot on some of the sills. On the interior part, the exterior seems like it was fixed over the summer, but just some parts in the interior that need to be looked at. So we got to figure out that. But yeah, just wanted to let you know. And Bob probably has some stuff to say too.
Yeah, I'll just add to that, Nate. Yeah, we had a nice meeting. Me, the superintendent, the principal, and Nate met, and we talked about the driveway, the parking lot at school. And yeah, this is one thing I forgot to mention to Dave while he was here. I talked to Tim about that issue too. And in the past, the town has done that kind of work where the highway department is sort of the contractor. We got an asphalt company down the road, usually works for us, Warner Brothers, Allstate. There's a guy that works for them down there. His name is,
Doesn't matter.
I don't remember his first name, but his last name's Hool. He runs their estimating. He's going to have to come up and meet with us. Dennis could do the prep work with his excavator. He's a real master at that, pulling off the asphalt.
Well,
the town can truck it to a recycling mill that doesn't charge to accept the material, and then do the grading that needs to be done. So we got to put that together in a package so we can get that work done.
present it next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we'll work together. And
Good,
Great.
that's good. Thank you, both of you, all of you, for that.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm
Now,
gonna sign out. Thanks.
yeah,
See you, Dave.
bye-bye.
Good night.
Okay, now we have to start with the Lake Wyola Associate Advisory Committee. And Mark is here, I think, but I don't see a picture, but that's okay. And Frank.
Here it comes.
Hi, Mark.
Hi.
And Frank is in there. No. People are jumping around my screen. Yeah, right. A little bit hard. There, okay. Okay. Now, as I understand it, there are some definite problems at the dam. And you apparently have already spent some money to get a pretty good review of the issues. Now, I know CPA met the other day. Did you meet with them?
I met with them about 3 or 4 weeks ago,
Yeah.
and I put in an application for CPA funding to cover 25% of the cost
Mhm.
for the engineering work that would be done this year in preparation for the actual repair work the following year.
Okay, so then we have, and you say the 75% remaining is expected to come from a grant from the Office of Dam Safety.
We're hoping that
Yeah, you're hoping, right.
And those funds just got opened up about 3 or 4 days ago. And so our dam engineering company, GZA, out of Springfield, is going to be applying for that grant. If we don't get the grant, I'm not exactly sure what happens, but everyone is
Well,
optimistic that we will.
let me make a suggestion to you. I was talking with Gabe about this, because to me, the logical thing to do, and to the two of you on the FinCom, would be for us perhaps to approve the $41,000 with the provision that if it isn't needed for the grant, you get the grant, then we keep it and apply it to the work that'll be done in the next year. Thereby reducing the amount that the town will have to spend next year, when it's a lot of work and a lot of money.
Yep.
And to me, that made a lot of sense, because that way we will have it and we just hold it. If you don't, and hopefully we don't need it. Hopefully you get the grant. And then that's 40-something thousand dollars that can just be applied to it and reduce the amount of the appropriation or the borrowing for the next year.
Is that something I need to do, or
No, it's
Okay.
nothing you need to do.
Okay.
If it is approved by FinCom, the article will be written in such a way that it will state that it's to be used for, the 75% of the funding for the planning. And then there's a provision in the article that will say it will be held, should it not be needed, it would be held over to the next year to be applied to the actual work.
Okay.
Because Gabe knows how to word that stuff. I don't.
Okay.
But I had all of a sudden thought, to me, that made a lot of sense. Because, we've got to guarantee that you have the money to do the engineering at this stage.
Yep.
Because if you don't, then we've got a bigger problem.
Well,
And
yes.
we all have a bigger problem. And George has his hand up.
So in regards to paying for this initial cost in that grant, why couldn't we ask the CPA for the full amount? And then if we get the grant, the CPA would only have to fork over $13,775 instead of the full amount.
I don't know the answer to that question. This is what the CPA recommended that I apply for, was for the 13K, and they liked the idea of getting matching money. But the CPA, I guess I don't have a sense of how much is in their coffers, but certainly I wrote the CPA grant application, in such a way that the project totally qualifies for CPA funding.
Yeah, that's really important. And they have a lot of money from what I can tell.
Yeah.
I know that they forked over 130 something for the track in Amherst, but they were approaching $400,000. So I imagine they would have the funds, but if that's a recommendation, that will certainly have to follow it, right, Mark? But it just seems to me that if the grant money doesn't come through, CPA, if it qualifies at 13,775, you can qualify for the whole amount. And I'm wondering if it's not too late to ask them if they could be our backstop instead of the finance committee. And the other thing I want to mention too is looking at, and I was trying to pull it up right now, looking at the expense report that we see and looking at the balances of our different funds, which I looked through as a member of the finance committee, we have $45,000 set aside for the dam. 35 of it is called dam permitting, and 10% is called dam project. And I remember a number of years ago, Becky, the former town administrator, said, this project's coming, we should throw some money at it and put some money aside for it, is what I meant to say. And so we have $45,000 on the sidelines that I think we can also access for this project. So if this portion of and my final point, if this portion of the project qualifies for CPA, what about the next phase of the project when we get into construction? Would that qualify for CPA funding? And then, of course, does the state have grants for that kind of work too? Because the state has a lot at stake here, right? This isn't just a Shutesbury issue. This affects everybody downstream.
The original hope was that we would get the 44,000 or so from the Office of Dam Safety, and then we would get 75% of the construction cost from the same group.
Okay.
So that's the
would
goal
be
there,
really
is to try to
helpful.
get as much out of the state as possible.
Yeah, if they do those two things, we're golden.
Yeah, because if that was the guesstimate was 150K for the
Yeah.
dam actual repairs and improvements. Now
That's right.
God knows when they wrote this.
No, it's recently. This is very recently.
November,
Yeah.
but you still don't know how numbers change and
Yep.
everything else.
Agreed.
So yeah, if we were to get 75%, that's a rather nice amount.
That would be with the 45 we have in hand and the 13 coming from CPA, it would have no impact on the tax rate.
Yeah. Well, it depends on where we put the 40. If we put the 40 in 40 with 41, okay, you confused me.
No, I'm
Yeah.
saying if we get the grant for the.
Yeah, oh yeah,
design
right.
committee,
Okay, yep.
right? And
Yeah.
we've already got 45 towards the remaining.
Yeah.
125,000 or whatever it would be, then the 75% grant, if that covers part of that, then we've got more than enough money. Because the 45,000 would be more than 25% of that cost. That's all I'm saying. I'm being optimistic.
Yeah.
I
Very.
should not. I know I shouldn't be, but
No, we've got to be. But at the same time, we've got to be pessimistic enough to plan for an alternate. Or you have to, finance committee has to plan for an alternate scenario.
yeah, well, again, I think there's a lot of money in the CPA funds, and I think whatever portion the town will have to fund, I think we can get it from the CPA. I want to look there first.
Yeah, we don't know what else they have in hand.
Mateo may have a different take on it, but
Yeah.
last I checked, they had a substantial amount of money in that account.
But we don't know what they have planned either, or what their requests. I don't know.
Well, we know that most things generally aren't of a magnitude like this,
Right.
but except that they did, no question, or bring it to town, or already did a special town meeting, 136,000 was it for the track? So we know about that. I'll get you the number, but we don't have to dwell on it now.
Very good.
Yeah. Can I speak?
Very good. Okay. Any questions? Bob, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a comment and a question. First of all, it's good to be pessimistic because when you're wrong, it's good.
Yeah, you got to be ready.
So, but I just want to be clear about what this application should be to us for the article. I mean, could we sort that out tonight or within the next week or something? Because that's important for us to establish. I mean, I hear all these funding options, but what we need to know is how much should we ask for from town meeting? So maybe George
Okay.
and Mr. Rivers Mark can figure that out.
We're not going to be concerned with anything for fiscal 27. We're looking at fiscal 26.
Yeah, I know.
What we're looking for then is the engineering type piece. So that's
Right,
the total of, it'd be 41,325
Right. And so
approximately.
what do we need to ask at town meeting? That's what we have to establish.
That's what the
Oh, no,
finance committee is
that's
gonna have to
actually-
figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that's
we're gonna have to
actually-
figure that out.
Yeah, and that's
But-
actually up to FinCom, not up to us.
No,
Right.
well, it's up to FinCom to figure out where to get it, but we need to know what it is.
Well, yep.
Well, we've
I'm
got
looking at
numbers
it.
on paper. We
Yeah.
know it's 155 in total. At least that's the initial estimate.
No,
Okay,
that's
but-
the year following. Right now, we're just doing the engineering for this year.
Oh, I was looking at that as two pieces, and the first one was this year.
Yeah, the first one is this coming year,
All right.
and then and so it would be
So,
26 will be the what is it, 55,000, and 27, and that's not us, that's the total amount roughly.
Oh, I see.
And
No,
then
no, I thought the
27
150 You're right. I thought the 150 included the 55. It does
No.
not.
So Mark,
No, that's on,
No.
on the sheet, one of the
Got
pages
it.
of the document. It
This
shows
is a
them separately.
$205,000 project.
Right.
Got it.
And
All
so,
right.
no, and so that's, and we're looking at that for the next fiscal year. And I would very much appreciated the fact that they told us that that would be in the next fiscal year, and it was done that way on the document from the company.
so
Got
I'd
it.
just
I'm
like to ask
sorry. I was
Mark,
confused.
from my point of view, I'd like to know what, what the CPA is gonna provide you with. Which, if you can give us that number, we can then figure from there.
Yeah,
it's-
the CPA is going to, give me 25% of the $55,000, which is $13,775.
Yeah.
And then we were hoping for, from the Office of Dam Safety, the $41,325 to give it to get to the total of 55,000.
That's for the preliminary work, the engineering.
That's
Yeah.
for,
Yeah.
for,
Design, permitting, and construction planning.
yeah,
That's
and,
what you said in your letter.
But that grant money won't be in hand though until when? I mean, do you have any notion about that?
oh, I think that's this year.
Yeah,
Yeah, it just got released, but it's my understanding that, in, a few months, they'll be awarded.
and who files that application?
The GZA, our engineering company, is gonna file that, and they have a grant group that applies for grants all the time.
So, yeah, so when will we know that grant will be approved? I mean, that's important information for us.
I don't know that. I don't have an answer to that, but I can find out if you'd like.
I appreciate that very much.
Now, that's why I suggested that we apply, we, suggest that we do the 41,000. And then we could roll it over against the 150,000 the next year. In Mark's letter of January 22nd, he says the actual repairs, which currently are projected to cost 150,000, are expected to take place in 26, most likely in the fall, which is fiscal 27.
Right, so I think that the finance committee has enough money to backstop the CPA or and even the grant. Right, in hand.
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
We can file for the grant and we have a backstop in the finance committee. In our expense report, we have that account that holds.
No, this will be next year.
We have it in the account now.
Yeah, I know, but it's not the.
Which account? What account are you talking about?
In our expense report, we have an account that was appropriated.
Yeah,
We have a fund.
emergency money that you people can help fund. But
So
we're not doing it in 25, we're doing it in 26.
Yeah, but we have the money now. It could be spent in 26 on.
I don't know that it can. I don't know your.
Well, I can tell you that we have a special fund set up that
Yeah.
we funded years ago. And actually, I'm looking and there's 3 of them. And so one is called Drawdown Permitting,
Oh, no, that's not
$26,000.
what we were talking about.
So maybe we can or cannot access this for this. I don't know. Mark, something for you to think about maybe. And then something called consultant permitting. That's $35,000. And dam consultant permitting. And then another one called Lake Wyola Dam Project, $10,000. If we have access to those funds for this project, because they're not sitting in operating account, they're sitting in special funds that, as far as I know, are not being used, $71,000 right there. So, and the reason I raised my hand is I want to ask a different question beyond the financing. And it is our job, as Ellen said, to decide whether we want to move forward with this project or not. What happens if we say no?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Well, it all depends. Best case scenario is the dam will continue to deteriorate, but it's not going to burst. It's not going to break. Worst, the next option scenario is that we get hit with a microburst like we did in, I think it was 1998, and the dam starts overtopping the dam. In that case, it's because of the concrete on top is not stable anymore. There's a fair chance that the dam could wash out and be a catastrophic failure.
Ooh.
Probability of that is very low. I mean, what's the chance of getting
very high to be a
hurricane?
I think there's no way that we get out of this. This is something we want to do.
Yeah, I think so
Have to
too,
be.
but I still want to ask the question, it
Yeah.
just feels like it's a question we should be asking.
Mhm.
I agree, totally support this. It's just, the longer we wait, the more it's gonna cost us.
Yeah,
And,
think of it as routine maintenance and it's
Yeah.
something that's should have been done probably 6 years ago.
true, I read that actually, yeah.
But there was no kind of leadership to drive it at that point in time.
Thank you
and
for your
so,
efforts, Mark. We appreciate it.
no problem. I'm glad to help. I have a
And,
vested interest in keeping the lake full.
here's a gentleman on FinCom. May I suggest that maybe, George, you talk to someone and find out those 3 accounts, exactly what they were to cover and for what?
Yeah, how
Because we-
flexible are we with those?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
because
no, I
we
will.
need-
I'll ask Gail.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
or
reach out to
Gail.
Gail. Probably.
Gail.
I'll ask Gail. I'll talk to Gabe about it, but I'll probably ultimately go to Gail.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if
Gail's
Gabe will
not gonna
know.
be until Wednesday. She's not coming in on Tuesday, so.
And I'm not sure if Gabe will know unless Becky, had, pretty good notes.
Well, she might talk to Gail about it.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking that
That's
Gail
all.
would probably,
But yeah, well,
would know.
Gail usually works on Mondays, doesn't she?
no, she's Tuesday, Thursday.
Okay.
But
Gail's-
she's gonna be up in Maine on Tuesday. She's visiting family for a few days,
All
so
right, so
she'll be in on
Thursday.
Wednesday of this
Well,
coming.
I might
week.
just send her an email anyways.
Yeah.
I can just give her a snapshot of the 3 accounts and say,
Because I would be
Can we
much more
use-
comfortable knowing how much of that money could really be used, or is it totally, really tightly earmarked?
I'll send a screenshot of those accounts and say, how much flexibility do we have? I'll send her the contract and say, please look at the section about the costs. Can we use this?
Good. That would be
Any of these
wonderful.
costs or other specific costs? And I'll try and get good answer from her on that.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah, I'll do
And
that.
if she can't give you an answer, I could probably fill in some of the blanks.
I'll CC you on the email.
Okay.
Great. Any other questions on this one? I'm just thankful it's not the 150,000 this year.
No, we were trying to plan in advance and,
Yeah,
Well, we appreciate that.
and we appreciate your work in getting CPA money and in finding the grant. We really do.
thank you.
Frank, do you have anything to say? You're muted. You're muted, Frank. We can't hear you.
Sorry about that. I have nothing to say on the dam. I have something related to the Shutesbury Elementary School parking lot. That's why I came on.
Oh,
That's why I had Mano, but yeah, I can, after Mark's finished, I can bring that up if you'd like.
okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Mark, do you have anything else?
Nope. So my only follow-up item is to find out when the grant will be issued, if
Right.
we get it or not, but what's the projected date that they release the funds?
No, they must have a due date for the application, so that's at least
Yeah.
a start.
All right, find out and I will send that to George. Or who should I send that to?
Oh, you can send it to me. That's fine.
Guys, and then he'll forward it
Yeah,
on.
well, actually, in CCLN is probably wise. So the two of
Thank
us.
you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, so we all, at least we have coverage. Backup.
Yeah. Very
Okay.
good. We appreciate your work on it, though.
Yes, we do, Mark. We appreciate your flexibility with these meetings too.
No,
Yeah.
no problem. Glad to help.
Great. Okay, then Frank, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, in
No,
the
no, no.
reference to the Shutesbury Elementary School parking lot before it's paved, and Bob might be able to help me. I don't know if it was Chief Tibbetts or Chief Lenny brought up using cisterns because the drains, the downspout drains from all the gutters go underground and out to the field. And one of the chiefs, and I don't remember who, brought up the idea of putting cisterns in to have a water reserve because there's no water in that end of the town. It'd be great for the school, help with insurance. So I just wanted to bring it up to capital planning, and I missed the last school meeting to bring it up then, that if you do that type of huge paving, you could actually incorporate that in the long run. And it was something that one of the fire chiefs wanted for a source of water. Right now, it just drains into a field, and that whole parking lot drains into a field.
Mm.
So
Well,
that was all I
may
wanted.
I ask that, okay, this is not going to be considered this year.
No.
Hold it. Okay,
I know the
may I
paving isn't
suggest-
BC.
Right, but may I suggest you pass it along to the school?
Yeah.
And when they write up their proposal for next year, that perhaps they mention
that
it
in.
there. because there's
Okay.
no way we're going to remember, at least I'm not.
Yeah, okay, no, okay, that's good.
Hey, Frank,
Yeah.
we did talk about that. I talked about with the principal and the superintendent. And did mention that that was an idea that Lenny brought forward to, I don't know, to what committee, it might have been this committee.
Yeah.
But
It wasn't this
yeah,
committee.
so it's
I
something we have
never
to
heard.
study and make sure that if there's gonna be drainage going into a tank, and there's gonna be a tank, there's gotta be a place for it, and there's gotta be a way to get the pipes, conduits into it. So that's definitely part of the project, is that consideration. It's
Oh,
been-
good, okay,
it's
because I missed that other, okay,
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you all.
But given your concern, Frank, it's probably a good idea that you kind of monitor it too as time goes on and make sure that,
I will.
It's
Because
in
we'd
there.
rather not put a nice paved parking lot and then dig it up after the fact.
Yeah.
if we're-
Right.
I think the
Absolutely.
state do that on roads.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for your concern.
Bye-bye.
Okay, now there are 4 of us left, so we can still have a meeting. And right now, let's see, the first thing we have to do is approve the minutes of February 27th that I sent out a couple of days ago. Did you receive them?
Yes, I received them and read them.
Bob, did you receive them? Oh, he's muted. Bob, you're muted.
Sorry, I did find them, Alan. I'm gonna read it
Good.
right.
Okay, and Michael's away, so I don't know if he received them or
I
not.
I read them just out of curiosity, but I can't say that I can approve them since I wasn't there.
Yeah, you have to abstain probably.
Right.
Okay, then. So do I have a motion pertaining to the minutes?
I'll make a motion that we approve these minutes.
Do I have a second?
Can I make a comment now, or should I?
No, wait till we open it up.
I'll
So
give you the second.
second it. Okay, now is there any discussion?
Yeah, in the minutes, I don't know which paragraph this is, but underneath the paragraph of DOT, the highway request for a tractor for snow removal.
That's what he said. That's what my notes said.
That's not really what it's for, but it's for mowing and so forth. But
Yeah,
Right,
well, how did
yeah,
I get
he
snow
talked
removal?
about it
that's what
tonight.
the green tractor's for. It's got for mowing machine and.
Okay, I'll correct it.
Oh, just a tractor would suffice.
A
Yeah,
tractor,
you
get
probably,
rid of them.
yeah, just keep it generic.
Yeah, okay, I'll make that correction.
That's all I got.
Okay, any other corrections? Okay, then all those in favor?
Arvanitis, aye.
Grove's eye.
McKay, aye.
Broad abstain.
Okay, so I will send this then to the town clerk. So she has a copy of it once I make the correction. And now the next thing is to form our board since we haven't done it yet. We've been meeting for 2 meetings now and, we still haven't, who's
We
gonna be
only have
secretary, who's gonna,
4 people here.
huh?
We only have 4 here tonight.
Because Nate had to leave to go to school committee.
So should we put it off?
Yeah, oh yeah, he's the chair and the secretary.
No, don't do
He's not
that.
here, he's
It's hard
not-
enough for me to be both last for that short meeting. Okay, so what do we want to do?
I'd say let's put it off to the next meeting.
Well, I didn't take minutes. I hope somebody did.
No, I didn't. I
They'll
didn't
be
realize.
recording.
Didn't realize that was a
the
thing.
recording.
Oh, that's true, they're recorded. But we're still supposed to submit written minutes.
Well, you can watch the recording is.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah.
In my abundant spare time. What are you guys trying to do?
Riveting,
Not get your real estate tax bills on time?
Well, didn't we just, I just paid, no, I don't guess
Well,
you're
you
right.
did, you
Get
paid
those out.
excise.
Yeah.
Okay, then, okay, we'll wait till next week, next month, next
So
week
what's
to
the
do
next
that.
meeting? What do you think?
27th,
Our next meeting's the 27th.
yes.
So I can't make. the
Oh, no,
27th.
I don't have a date for the next one. Oh, I have, okay, when
You
are we
know where I'm
going,
gonna be on the 27th?
where?
I'm gonna be in Hadley at the Capital Planning.
Oh, that's right. So
Oh,
am I.
that's right, that's that thing.
Oh,
I couldn't
yeah.
figure out how to sign in to go to it.
Yeah, Bob, did you sign up for that?
Yeah, I did.
I'm going too.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a blast.
Well, we'll hang up on John Tricky.
It's capital planning, Ellen. You gonna show
I
up?
know, but
Yeah, it's, best practices in capital planning.
yeah, I
It's-
tried to get onto it, but, sign in, but it required me to have a state whatever, which I
Really?
don't have.
Yeah, I had trouble logging in too. Eventually I figured it out.
You don't have an account with MMA, Ellen?
No,
You
I never
don't.
go to MMA.
Oh, well, I think we should be able to get that for you. Maybe Gabe can help you with that.
Yeah, well, when I
Yeah.
would secret
Gabe
knowledge,
would
You know
Great.
John Trickey, you know John Trickey at all?
no, I don't know the name even.
He's the chair
He's
of
the
the finance
finance
committee. and
committee member.
He's on the state, he's on the finance committee
Oh.
organization. It's part of MMA. And he's running it, I think, pretty much. So I'll call him and see if he can send you an invitation.
Yeah, that would be great.
He's the
because-
one that told us about it. He
Yeah,
told
I
us
saw,
about
I saw it come through, but as soon as I hit MMA code or whatever, I said, I can't do this. Okay,
Anyway, Michael, you might want to consider it too. I don't know. You're probably not a member of MMA.
No. Mixed martial arts, is that what that's?
No, no,
Okay.
it's like mixed martial arts, political mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
okay, then when are we going to have a meeting, gentlemen?
Um,
How about the 3rd? April.
Yeah,
Third.
that's doable for me.
What day of the week is that?
It's
That is a Thursday, April 3rd.
Thursday in April.
Thursday I can make.
I can make.
George,
I'm looking. Yes, I can do that.
okay. So
So-
4, 3, 6 o'clock?
Yeah, so one
Always.
of us has to email Nate and see if he can make it. Will you do that, Ellen, or can you handle that? Or-
Oh, who, Nate? Yeah, I'll email him as soon as I
Great.
get out of here.
Okay,
Okay. But we'll still have a quorum. Okay, now we can discuss all of the requests.
be great.
Very
Uh,
good.
One other thing we should talk about too, Ellen, tonight is just briefly is the request for open checkbook.
Oh, the problem with that is okay, under our bylaws, bylaw that formed us, section 2 indicates that all officers, boards, and committees, including the select board and school committee, shall by February 1st of each year give the committee on forms prepared by it information concerning projects. So it has to be sponsored by a committee, and because they're going to end up picking up the tab for the yearly
Right.
thing on their budget like I do.
No, that's why
We all
the
do.
citizens approached AJ. And I think,
Oh.
no, that's why the citizens approached AJ, because they knew that, and
Yeah. Well, they
AJ
didn't-
was gonna bring it
Okay.
to us,
Yeah.
and we have been inundated, and he's
Yeah.
been inundated, and so it's
Oh,
been missed. And
Well, we
so I'm
can't
hop-
we can't do anything now because the due date was February 1, maybe next year.
So we're gonna
But
kick.
but you know, what you've got to realize is all the big towns and all that have it have a whole different accounting package and every package than we do. They have Munis. And
Okay,
apparently it's easy to do Munis. With us, we don't even know what the cost would be through Vadar. Because there'll be a cost there of them linking in,
I
as
think
I understand it from Gail.
Vadar will do it, but I think we have to do it next year, so might as well just table it.
well, I honestly, I don't
We
think
have to,
do
we
it
have
all.
no choice.
I don't think we have to do it all, but it was requested, and
I
so
know.
I think formally we should acknowledge the request. Now, if they missed the deadline,
Well, okay.
they did go to AJ with it, and it's unfortunate that AJ didn't bring it here. Or me, for that matter, I guess, because I knew about it.
Okay,
I will tell you this: Gail thinks she has something better that costs nothing.
she does. She
So-
printed it out for me today.
Yeah, I think it works great. And so finance
it's-
committee is going to talk about that on Tuesday, and hopefully we're going to have more information and it's going to turn out to be as good, if not better. It's
Yeah.
certainly better because Gail will be able to keep private information out of it, which was her and Gabe's biggest concern.
With good reason.
Yeah, no, I'm not questioning that at all.
No.
And honestly, I liked Open Checkbook because I saw the real benefits of it. We have departments come in with budgets to request for the future year, and we can look at how they've been spending up to that
Yeah.
point in time on our own.
Yeah.
But it turns out Gail has basically the same information available to us and can publish
yeah.
it every time she publishes the expense report. So
Right.
I think that's the way it's going to go. But I was trying to make the pitch, Ellen, that we should at least have the opportunity for the Open Checkbook to be purchased if that's the case. But we'll let finance kick it around.
Yeah, please do. And furthermore, we can't do anything this year through capital planning. And it would just be the cost of the thing, knowing that somebody has to sponsor this because somebody's going to have to pick up the yearly tab. And in her note,
Well, I mean, finance, yeah.
Amanda emailed me. And I took a look at I sent her back the bylaw and asked her to look at section 2, because she says she didn't even know if citizens could do this, and the answer is no. And furthermore, the February 1st date is gone by, so
Well, you know, yeah, I would say that she did make the request. She just couldn't formally make it to us, and
well, she
it
didn't
was
make it
us
to the
that
right
made the
board.
mistake, not her. And that's what I'm concerned about. It's not that, you know, she did what she thought was the best way to approach it as a citizen. And the finance committee chair, I'm not blaming AJ, I'm not blaming me, but we had not brought it to this committee, which by the way, hadn't even scheduled before February 1st. Now, that doesn't mean we couldn't have filled out the form and sent it in.
Right. Well, she actually said she approached the FinCom thinking we needed a sponsor to send it your way, which
Yes.
she was correct on. You
No,
need
she is correct.
somebody who's willing to take the and also to pay the bills after the
Yeah,
after.
no, and that's, you know, the finance committee will decide that, you know. I mean,
Right.
we could put it in the accountant's expenses and add $2,000 to the accountant expenses for the annual maintenance if we had to.
Well, yeah.
I-
Okay. And incidentally, also in her note to me, she said the yearly's 1,200, and Gail's found out the yearly's at least 2,000.
Right, we're going with the 2,000 number.
Okay, you know about that then.
Yes, I heard. I do think that the ultimate solution is in Gail's hands, and I
Oh,
think it
yeah.
will satisfy the request.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be with Open Checkbook to make that information public information.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're just going to get requests. You know,
Yeah.
they're just
I
going to
know.
go to Grace and they're going to request this stuff, and it's going to end up being more work for Gail.
Well, there's so much that, because of HIPAA and every other alphabet soup you can imagine, that, if they're concerned about the school, we don't even pay the school, like the teachers individually. It's one lump sum goes to the school, one lump sum goes to the region.
That's right. No, that's right. And the accountant told us that, or Gabe
Yeah.
told us that. They're not going to be able to see inside the
Right.
the regional school or the elementary school,
Right.
because that's done by Union 28 and of course. by
Right,
law.
which is something that if they want to see, they're going to have to get it from them.
Yes,
Well, I'm wondering now, does Amherst have open checkbook?
I believe not.
Okay,
Northampton has it. She gave us a
Yeah.
list of local towns that have it.
Oh.
Amherst was not on it.
okay. Because
She
I
gave
was
us a list of all the towns in Massachusetts that have it. It was like 10 towns in the whole state.
oh, yeah,
But Northampton has it. So I went to their website, I found it, and I started looking at how they're spending money in the fire department and in the highway department. I didn't spend a lot of time on it, but it's there. You could see it. And it's, it's classic general ledger style. It's just
Oh,
one
yeah.
line, one transaction, $1 amount. Doesn't necessarily tell you what you're paying them for. It just tells you that.
right. Yeah, just
So
tell you when
show-
the check was
show.
written. Yeah,
Hey,
exactly. Yeah, Bob.
Gotta go.
Okay, yeah, I
Wanna-
do. I do
wanna-
pretty soon because I've got a family Zoom at 8.
I'll make a motion to
Oh, good for
adjourn.
you.
Okay, then I needed a motion to adjourn.
Second.
No, I didn't make it. I you said I need one.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye,
All right, so
Groves, aye.
Okay,
but aye.
McKay, aye.
All
Okay,
right.
gentlemen, we will see you on 4/3.
When is notice?
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye.
see you.